Hi, AP parents. My name is Sarah Nance, and I am your son or daughter's English teacher for AP Lang and Comp this year. Welcome to Back to School Night. This is a little bit unconventional, as I'm sure you're aware. And so I just wanted to spend a little bit of time this evening as you're watching this, going through a little bit about what our course looks like and what to expect as far as grades. I do have a letter attached that you can reference or print if you want, that really explains my grading system. And then I also have a slideshow for you to go through, which I'll get a little bit into. So as we start, again, Sarah Nance, this is my 11th year teaching at Eagle Crest, and I've only ever been a teacher at Eagle Crest. I used to coach volleyball here, and I sponsored National English Honor Society. However, I have two really little babies at home, and I had to kind of put some of that aside so I could spend some time being a mom. I'm actually doing this screencast from my house because I am teaching part-time this year. I'm only in the buildings in the mornings, and then I go pick up my kids in the afternoon and work from home when they're asleep. So the best way to get in touch with me is always through email. Phone works too. I just am not in the building as much as I used to be. I'm really only there in the mornings, and when I'm there, I'm teaching. So I teach AP, either your son or daughter in the 1A class or the 1B class, and whether they're in the first cohort or the last cohort, it varies when I see them throughout the week. So if you go to Schoology, I have two things in here. First of all, it's a back to school night PowerPoint, which just goes over our course and kind of the things that we do in AP Lang. This I would encourage you to read first or second. I guess it doesn't really matter. I have it listed here first. This really is just how I grade. I grade using a skills-based approach or standards-based, which basically means that students are graded on how well they show proficiency of a skill. And so what I'll also put in here is, by the time you see this, I'll put the master rubric. Basically, the students have to show proficiency on all these skills like thesis, evidence, analysis, diction, style, and tone. And so for one assignment, they might get 3 or 4 grades that are assessing specific skills. And really what this does is it gives you a better look at where they're struggling and where they're proficient at. I used to have my grade book weighted as far as like homework would be worth 30% of their overall grade. And I didn't think that in this hybrid model that holding them accountable for 30% of their grade for homework was an equitable way to conduct my class, especially because homework's going to look a lot different this year. And really the homework will be what the kids will be doing remotely. So I was having a hard time thinking about how I would weight the grade book in that way. And so I've been wanting to switch to a standards-based approach for a long time for AP because I do it with my freshmen, and it really, really works. The kids are not penalized for late work as long as they turn it in as within the timeline of the unit. Our units are usually about 4 to 5 weeks long. So they're not penalized. So I'm really just grading the skill. I'm not grading their timeliness. So if they turn something in a little bit late, I'm not going to just like take 50% off the top. I don't think that's fair, and I don't think that we should approach school that way. Should they not turn in an assignment, it goes in as a 50% instead of a 0%. And that again makes the grade book a lot more equitable. And it looks a little funny putting a 50% in for a missing assignment, but it makes it a lot easier for their grades to go up when they finally do turn in their assignment. So hopefully that's not a problem at all. But if they have a lapse and forget their homework or forget to do something that, it really doesn't penalize them as long as they get it turned in and those things don't stack up. All of this is explained in my letter to you here. So I'll just click into it so you can just kind of see what it looks like. So I've got some key points in bold here. Grades go in as a 9.5, 9.5 out of 10. That would be an A. If it's above and beyond, of course, I could put in 10 out of 10 or 100%. So that's kind of how that works. And here's really what it shows. The formatting's off just a little bit in this screen. The traditional system would give students a grade like this, 18 out of 20, 38 out of 50. But that doesn't really show the parents or the student or the teacher really where students are doing well and where they're struggling. Excuse me. All right, go away, come on. All right, so in the other one, if I break it down by skill, I can see that Susie can identify a theme of a text. Maybe she got a C on that. but maybe when it comes to using transitions to link main ideas, these are all skills. She did a little bit better at that and got a B. So I have a lot more information on her as a student when I use a skills-based approach. Again, I encourage you to read it because there's a lot more to it than just that. Finally, these academic skills are 75% of their overall grade in my class. 10% of their grade is for discussion, participation, and quality when we're actually in person. We do a lot of discussing, a lot of talking out loud, and so I had trouble, grading that on a skills rubric, so that'll just be total points. And then same with multiple choice. That's part of their AP exam. It's kind of a brutal multiple choice. And so we obviously want to practice that, assess it. Again, retaking is part of standards-based grading and part of my whole philosophy on being able to redo things to get higher scores and just better learning. So I'm all for that. So I really encourage you to read through that letter. There's a lot of really rich information in it. And then really the other thing I have for you, this is a back to school night presentation, specifically for parents. And I think I'm just going to show it from my computer instead of through Schoology, just so the formatting is correct. So there's my contact information, snance, no numbers, at cherrycreekschools.org, and my phone number. I do share that with a couple of other teachers, so just be aware. Like I said, this is my 11th year at Eagle Crest. I was a graduate of Colorado Mesa University. I played on the volleyball team there. Like I said, I coached Eagle Crest for about 8 years, my first 8 years, and then I got married and started having kids, so I had to kind of put that on the back burner. I recently got my master's degree in my principal licensure, so administration, through Fort Hays State. I'm from the area. I went to Arapahoe and I graduated in 2005. My husband is a social studies teacher at Cherry Creek High School, although he did work at Eagle Crest for a long time, and that's how we met. We have 2 kids. We have a 2-year-old who's 2 and 8 months named Jane, and then we have an 8-month-old named Sam. They were born 2 years and 2 days apart, so they're almost exactly 2 years. Here's Janie Bug, and here's Sam. He's a monster, but very cute. So this is what I get to come home to midday every day. I am going to go through this pretty quickly because I want to value your time. Just know that if I don't get through everything, that this is here for you in the shelves for you to be able to consult when you have more time and you're not watching my screencast. So first of all, this class is focused on nonfiction. We don't do any fiction in this class, and that's not completely true. We have done fiction in the past. We read 1984, and we may read that again this year. Kids really like that book because it connects to some political current events that they want to talk about, so it kind of opens the door for us to talk about politics through the lens of fiction, and of course we apply it in an AP Lang kind of way. What we do in AP Lang is we analyze choices the authors and speakers make in order to accomplish a goal or purpose. So it's basically a college level course, or an introductory college level course on rhetoric and argument. The course asks students to draw on personal experience and background knowledge from their life experiences and other courses to come up with evidence to support their claims. So we write a lot, but we also do a lot of reading to enhance our writing. So that's where the language and composition parts come from. Our units of study are thematic, so we'll kind of start with a general overview of what is rhetoric. Then we'll go into a unit on education, which will be incredibly rich this year given the tumultuous time of teaching in America. And obviously you value your students being in school right now, and so we definitely need to talk about that. We'll talk about language and how language can be used to reveal who we are, conceal. We might do 1984, like I said, or we might do The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. She was a Black woman whose cancerous cervical cells were taken from her without her permission in the 1950s, and her cells were used to develop chemotherapy drugs, the polio vaccine, but her family never knew. They were never compensated for it. So we really talk about power, race, ethics in the medical field, and we use it from a lens from a Black woman, which again allows us to talk about some other current events in the world. So I'm really excited to do that one. Both of these novels are really rich for some things happening in our world. We'll do some stuff on satire, gender equality, community, and what it means to be part of a community and how we respect and treat one another and what happens if we don't. And of course, we'll get ready for our tests. The AP exam, which we start preparing for right away, is May 12th, 2021. It consists of a multiple choice element, and then they have 2 hours and 15 minutes to write 3 essays, and these are the kinds of essays they have to write. Of course, last year when we were remote, the students did this online, and I'm wondering if that's going to be an option this year, even if we are in person, if they're going to just totally switch it. I don't know, but I'll make sure to communicate that with your students and you as well as I get information. Again, the parent letter goes over my grading, the way I grade. So again, academic skills, that counts for 75% of their grade. The kids write a lot of essays in my class. They can always redo their essays for more points, but they're graded on a 6-point scale, and this is directly from AP. So I wanted to make it as close to AP as I could, but also still standards based. So they can get up to 1 point on thesis. So that's an easy skill for me to put in for their essay in the grade book. And they can get anywhere from actually really 0 to 4, just an additional 2 to 4 points on their evidence and commentary, and then 1 additional point on style. And so those skills for me in my class will be converted into points on the master skills rubric. Again, I'll go ahead and put that in the shell for you to consult as well. So each essay that they write will earn 3 separate grades in these categories in that academic skills category. So if you have questions about that, please don't hesitate to ask. It's totally a new thing in education, but we find that students just do better when they do standards-based grading, and I'm excited to do it in AP finally. All right, there's the AP Lang exam scoring. You can look at that. I'm running out of time here. ACT, SAT information, we'll have a free test for them to take in February and April, but I don't have the dates. I would go to College Board for SAT or ACT.org to take earlier tests. I definitely recommend that. And then some other expectations, but these are pretty basic, and you absolutely can go over them a little bit later. Most of it is just coming to class when possible. That 94 minutes we get once a week is precious time, and I really hope that all students are there for that, unless, of course, they're sick, and I want them to stay home, of course. We want them to work remotely effectively so that, again, our in-person time is super effective and productive, so that remote time will be used pretty well too to kind of enhance what we'll be doing in class. Please reach out. Again, my contact information is here. Our parent-teacher conferences will be virtual as well. They are in October on the master calendar, so please check that out, and I hope to meet you in person then. Thank you so much, and let's have a great year.